Oh,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Emmanuel David as one of the speakers for this afternoon. Mr. Emmanuel David has over 30 years of hands-on experience of managing multicultural workforces in organizations like British Gas, Volvo, Honda, Oberoi, Eicher, and Hindustan Motors. All these companies have benefited from the significant contributions he made in each of them. He is presently the Executive Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer of Voltas Limited, where he is responsible for human resources, corporate sustainability, administration and safety, health and environment for Voltas. His commitment and expertise lie in promoting business growth for applying thought and leadership to strategic human resources. Sir is an alumni of XLRI, has equipped himself with an advanced management program of AIMA on strategic profitability management and is also a certified Belbin team facilitator in UK. He is also an experimental cook, an avid photographer, a reader, blogger and writer. Not limiting his knowledge to one facet, he has explored the religious realm too. Churches across India invite him onto their pulpits for his deep insights and practical look at religion. I would request Sir to please express his thoughts and experiences in front of the fellow student managers. Thank you.
What is his name?
Abhijit.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the warm welcome and the standing ovation. And when I heard my name being called, I was intrigued at that pleasant voice. And I don't know where the voice came from, maybe like an oracle from heaven. So thank you for inviting me as well. Thank you, Abhijit, for those kind words. And dear friends, how do you like another 30 slides of PowerPoint? Yes or no? Yes? No. Did I hear some no's? Yeah. Okay. I don't have any PowerPoints. In fact, I don't have too much of a speech also. I've got a lot of papers. I've written a lot of ideas. But what I thought this afternoon, I want to also listen to you. And I thought we'll co-create this session. Does that make sense? Yeah? So let's see. I've had a very nice reception from all of you since morning. And I was also very pleased at seeing the facilities and the campus and your hostels, the mess, the food, interacted with all the directors. And all seem charged and motivated. And I understand that your 4 institutes over here. And so I've got one of your classmates to help me. Prerna is somewhere there. Anyway, okay. So I'll ask a few questions and let's see if you can answer them. Let's see if you can answer these questions. Okay. So whoever gets it first will get a little token from me. So can anyone name the 3 pillars of the Sri Balaji Society? Okay, that's an easy one. Okay. So okay. Now I will point out to someone and then you'll got to answer. Anyway, can you tell me the name of the person who has reached the national level in the Malkhambh? No, you got to put up your hand. The lady there. Nilesh, okay, give her a gift. Yep, good. Where's Nilesh? Nilesh, stand up. Yeah, that's it. He's your man. Yeah. Very good. Okay, how many years did Professor Colonel A. Balasubramaniam serve in the Indian Army? Okay, that's an easy one. Right. Okay. We got someone here. Athletics. Excellent. Wow. Okay. And yeah, not many. Okay. And what did Chavikant Ramnani do? Oh, okay. Okay, there's another lady there. Yeah. So good. Okay, you got to fill in the blanks over here. You got to fill in the blanks. Pune city has gained the reputation of being the put up your hand. Wrong. Wrong. One second. Cybercrime free city. Good idea, but no, that's not right. What's your name? Shruti. Yeah, Shruti is right. Very good. Pune city has gained the reputation of being the Oxford of the East due to a large number of educational institutions. Right? Did you know that? Not many of you knew it. Not many of you knew it, is it? You knew it. Yeah. But you didn't put up your hand. So next time, put up your hand faster. Prerna, you can give him also. What's your name? Bhushan. But next time you'll be quicker. Yeah? Okay. Let's just get a little more, deeper a little bit. Okay, well, let's do one or two more of your. Okay, in national level cricket, in this group, who have excelled? One second, where are the. No one here raising any questions? We got two? Yeah? Pardon me? Rohan Bhosle and Brijesh Acharya. Where are they? Are they in the audience? I thought at least they'll put up their hands. But anyway, you get good. And then what did Ankit do? Guitarist. Okay, great. Okay. What percentage? Now this is someone put up your hands. What percentage of India's population is said to be below the poverty line? How many households? How much? So put up your hand. 70% is not correct. 29% is not correct. 87%? 27%. Who's saying 27? 28. 28 over there. 26. Who says 36? Yeah. Yeah, 36. 36.7%. Right? National average is 35%, but the rural is 36.7 and 30.5 is urban. So we had responses ranging from what? 87 to 26? So fair enough. So is that a little bit of a learning for all of us here today? Yeah, good. If you look at the Mint and the World Bank group, you'll get these statistics. Okay. Which is the largest railway network under a single management? Easy one, isn't it? How many people work? 1/6. You're a quizzer? Very good. Okay. Tell me, what percentage of India's population is illiterate? No, put up your hand. 24 there. What's your name? Saurabh, you're wrong, but you'll still get a little mark for shouting out loud. 26, I hear a lady. Good risk, but you're wrong. 31. Once again, I can't hear you all. Can you have one little norm? Listen, my friend, just a minute. 1 minute. May I have your attention? Can we have a little norm? Raise up your hands and then you answer. Right? Okay. So that will be helpful and everyone gets a chance. What are you saying? 28 is not correct. Gentleman there? You. 34. I'd like a lady to volunteer. Any ladies? Yes. 32? No. 38? Yeah. You said 38? Did you Google it just now? Who said 37? Yeah. 37. Yeah. So that's, yeah. And what in numbers would be the number of illiterate? Do you know what is illiterate? Yeah. Now I want someone to give me rather than the legal definition, if you have a mic, I want one of you to tell me what does illiteracy mean? What does illiterate mean? You got a mic? Yeah. Anyone? Any of the ladies can? Is anyone taking a guess? Just define what is illiteracy according to you. Yeah, here. Can you have the mic there, please? There's a lady there in the fourth row. Excuse me. We'll ask the lady there. There.
Sir?
Yeah. There. Now, don't go by legal definition. What does illiteracy mean? Just tell every one of us.
Hello? Sir, the person who can't write his name is illiterate.
Can't write,
His name.
can't
Or
read.
Read and write. His name or...
Yeah, that's a legal definition. But is there anything more than that? What does it mean? What's the... Yeah, there's someone...
So I think the person who is not capable of understanding somebody else has to. What?
Yeah.
What happened?
Excuse me. Can you repeat what you said? Can you repeat what you said? What's your name?
I said that.
What's your name?
Misty Roy.
Misty Roy. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, I said that if a person is not capable of understanding or is not able to communicate with any other person, has said to be illiterate.
Yeah. Okay, then we heard everyone express that they could not understand, isn't it, Misty? Right? Everyone made a expression as though they couldn't understand. So, who's illiterate? I think what Misty says has a point. The person who can't understand. In addition to the mere formality, legal definition of writing. So I'm saying, just go beyond the statistics also. Okay, any guess as to how many people are illiterate in this country? Of 1.2 billion. Yeah, that's right, 287 million. Yeah. Okay, so we'll come back to illiteracy. That means, can you imagine 28%, almost 30% of our population cannot understand, cannot read and write. Friends, right, this number will grow. You know, this number was much low in 1947. In fact, it was equal to the population of the country. And today you have illiterates who are equal to the population of USA. Right? And today you have 287 million people. And 10 years from now, when you're going to be sitting as HR managers or business managers, you'll be living in communities where you will have maybe another 30% more added to this number, and they will be your neighbors. Consider for this moment, does it impact you in any way? You're literate. Does this impact you in any way? Yes or no? We'll still have the gifts given out for answers. How will it impact you? Anyone? How would the growing number of illiterates impact you personally and in your professional life? A person cannot understand what you're saying. I think a good definition of Misty. Friends, what's happened in the silence? I want to volunteer. Yeah, there you are. Can you have the mic go to her? Yeah. Beg your pardon?
Knowledge and growth that I receive.
Yeah, that is of course at a very broad level, but personally how will it impact you? Will it impact you at all?
Yes, I think it will impact.
How will it impact you? Consider a situation, there are people, we all of us love, who's there? I think, you want the mic?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So I would like to tell how it will impact professionally. Actually, if the number of illiterates is growing, it's difficult to convert them into customers because they can't understand.
Excellent.
That
So
is
you look at it from
one
a
of the
business point of view. Very good. Yeah, you're saying so.
Sir, there is lack of skilled laborers, so it directly affect the production and industries and all.
Competitiveness of our country. Yeah. Okay, and a very simple personal level, you're on a rural road, unfortunately someone meets with an accident, an illiterate person comes there, he can't understand your name, he doesn't know what your phone number is, he cannot inform, he doesn't know how to call emergency. We all have to coexist, isn't it? Don't you see that? Can you understand me on this? It's a very simple thing. And that's where your colleague Mishti has said the person who can't understand, in addition to signing. Right? So, my friends, these are all real issues which are happening. Okay, let's go further. Now, this is a little different. I don't know how you will take it. What, you heard of maternal mortality rate? Yeah, what does it mean? Yeah. And childbirth. Good. So, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, what's the number in our country? What's the rate in our country? Now the quiz is getting a little tougher, isn't it? Any guesses? Pardon me? So, we don't have anyone guessing, so you need to put some effort. It's our country. Find out what is the maternal mortality rate. Find out what is the infant mortality rate. And you would say, how does it bother me? I am in Balaji Society. I am doing an MBA. You know, everyone told you to be successful. But it's again a issue of coexistence. Right? Okay, before I share, I'll ask one or two of you to tell me what's the implication of maternal mortality. Incidentally, the number is about 178 in India, and in the SAARC countries we're the lowest, rather we're the highest. You know, so more women die at childbirth than other countries in the SAARC region. Despite all our advancement and development and having great people. Coincidentally, we have the second largest pool of doctors in the world. Indians are the second largest pool of doctors, and we are also having the highest maternal mortality rate. I want a lady and a gentleman to tell me what are the implications of maternal mortality. Anyone? Yeah, there you are. Yeah. Yeah. Basic level hygiene, there's a cause of, yeah, what are the implications? Once the mother dies, what happens? These are things happening in our country, my friends. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Can you speak out loud? Can I have my friends with the mics to do a little bit of exercise running around? And it'll be good if you stay put in the center of the aisle, then you can reach out to your colleagues. What's your name and?
My name is Shubhi. The implications are that it leads to upbringing of child bad upbringings, and then uneducation increases. And the third thing is that unhygienic, again it leads to unhygienicness.
Yeah. I'll go with your first point of upbringing. You know, the children who are born, who don't have mothers today, will be, you know, or the last 10 years, will be your employees tomorrow. They come with, you know, fractured emotions. They will not be able to adjust very well. They have not experienced the love of a mother, which I suppose most of us in this room have. And look at it as a social impact. Then you would be judging the person as to why is he such a dysfunctional person, right? Until unless we look at these aspects, then only then we know who our people are. Maybe I'm speaking from a human resource bias, but each of you will be business managers. The 11 million children, please sit down, Shubhi. Thank you so much. Prerna, you can give her a, Prerna, please give her the bookmark, yeah? Yeah. There are 11 million children abandoned in India, and over 90% are girls, you know? And some of the darker sides of our human life, 1.2 million children are sex slaves, either kidnapped off the streets and sold, you know? So that's the kind of a thing. Okay, it's getting a little difficult, this quiz, is it? Yes or no? Or is it interesting? Yeah, so we will come to a closure. Someone please guide me on my time, how many minutes I have, then we will work around. We'll still have about 10 minutes for a Q&A. Okay, a little easy one. Can you guess how many people attended the Kumbh Mela in Allahabad? 4 crores. About 2.5 crores. 2.5 crores. 25 million. You know the interesting dimension of this is that 25 million is more than the population of 185 of the 227 countries in the world. Did you know that? The number of people who go to Allahabad, 2.5 crores or 2.25 million. I don't know, it's a number. Okay. So, I've been given some news that I'll have to finish quickly. So let's see how it will go. And very quickly, let's touch on another aspect. Do you know about malnutrition? So, how many of the world's malnourished live in our country? One-third of the world's malnourished. Right? Okay. I'm very happy with Suresh Padi was telling me that there's a reservation for boys in this institute, and at least 50% are boys. So that way it is good. They said, he told me that the girls are very bright and intelligent and they get all the seats, so they try to get at least 50% seats for the boys, so which is a good news as such. But what's the female literacy in our country? What's the female literacy in our country? Beg your pardon? 87? Can you put up your hand? 62%? I think we give it to you, 64.8%, right? Unfortunately, what also has happened is, over the past year, the number of women who are employed in corporates has come down, right? And you also heard of this Vishaka bill? Yes or no? There are not so many. It has become a law on the December of 9th, 2013. You heard of that? No. I think you all should be aware of it. It's called the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, right? So, and when you all get into work, and this is a very important act, and sometimes there are several things which you may do or not do, which can be construed as that, and which can result in unnecessary censure and discipline. So what I want to do now is, if you look at the crime against women in our country, it has gone up. Any idea how many cases were there last year, crimes against women? All over India. Pardon me? 20,000? Okay, that he says 20,000, he's wrong. Pardon me? 10,000. I heard a lady say that. Who's that? You may be right. Who said 10,000? Okay. Any more guesses? I think you're not reading your newspapers adequately. I hear something from here. Pardon? 5,000? No. Someone is saying something else? 1 lakh. Who said that? Put your hand out. Who said 1 lakh? Good. Yeah, distant. See, when I'm looking at 10,000, 5,000, my friends, I must tell you, you're all divorced from reality. It is 2,44,000. 2,44,000 cases. And it's no laughing matter. Do you see that as an issue? Ladies? I want your voice. Do you see that as an issue? So how is it you're not aware of these kind of statistics? Tomorrow, when you're in work, women employees will come to you for redressal, for support. What would you answer? If your perception is 5,000 cases, 10,000 cases, you're not understanding the magnitude of the issue, isn't it? Does it mean something to you all? This is something you read in 8 to 9 in the morning, you read the newspapers, right? You read the newspapers, right? And what do you do about it? What are you reading or you understanding? You're just going through it. Please spend some time. So this is a burning issue in our country. Many people are talking about it. Now what I want you to do is, Rahul and Prerna would give you out some post-it slips. Now I want you all to help me and help ourselves. Let's co-create something. I want you to, do a little work, and then we'll see how we'll pan it out. You give a post-it slip. You have a post-it. Just show me the. You know how a post-it slip looks. Write one idea on the slip, right? Each of you, right? So I want this group to look at illiteracy, this group to look at health, and that group to look at respect for women, right? So you write down one idea on the post-it slip. Think for a moment, what is it you can do to reduce illiteracy and increase, education? This group, each one of you, right? Similarly, for health, what can you do to improve? Last one, I want you to look at what can we do to improve respect for women at the workplace, in the society. Is it clear? I don't get an answer. Yeah? So what will you do, guys do, ladies and you, what will you all do? Respect for women. And this group in the middle? And you? Illiteracy. Yeah? So do this, and this is an experiment in co-creation. And we'll get all the information together and we'll give it back to us. Right? So take a moment, write it down. Give the faculty, share it to faculty, everybody. Everyone, everyone. Yeah. I request the faculty also to participate in this exercise, because your inputs will be valuable as well. Okay, have you all got the slips? Quickly settle in. Write your own idea, don't consult. However simple, however, visionary it may be, let it be. But a simple, whatever idea, it's yours. You also put your thoughts, your thoughts,
The thoughts
your ideas.
about what?
Can you start collecting them, Rahul? Have some 2-3 volunteers quickly collect. Yeah, can you all help and start giving your chits, please? Are you all through? Have you finished? We need to be a little efficient now.
So you want them?
No, give it to the volunteers, whoever is handling the respect one, to whoever is doing it.
It's all respect for women.
Okay. I'll just read out 1 or 2 things I got for respect for women. Someone has written, start a promotional campaign via social media and NGOs to connect with sexual harassment cases at their workplace to gain insights. Take a few, I can read out. Someone has written, protect the girl child baby birth, So simple ideas. The whole thing about co-creation is you unleash the creative energy of everybody so that it transforms both the individual experience and the economics of the nation and the community. Something interesting? Someone has written, reading and interacting with others to break the boundary, it should be at an individual level. It's a good idea. So which means, each one can do that. Okay, someone has written, provide free education for those who are willing to study but can't study due to money. So we get similar ideas like this. I think what we would do is, I will ask the faculty to help me in collating all this and putting it back to you, which can then get transformed to some action. So friends, you can be seated. You can be seated. Take them. So, collect all these things and we will collate them. I just want to leave a thought with you all. I think we did very well when we know about Colonel Bala, about Sri Balaji Society, about yourselves, your achievements. We are quite well aware. What is your guess about our own country? What's our awareness levels, my friends? The ladies and gentlemen, what's your awareness level? On a 1:10 scale, where would you put yourselves? Pardon me? Yeah? So, I want you to look at it as a great opportunity. If it is 3 or 1, as I heard the voices say, it's a fantastic opportunity for you to discover our country. There are very many immense issues. These social issues, these economic issues will impact you. They will impact you. We are grappling with many things today because at a time when we could take action, perhaps we chose not to. Perhaps we did not. Perhaps we didn't have the courage to do so. Right? So whatever policy decisions happen, whatever is happening today is a consequence of decisions taken 15, 20 years ago. Right? So each of us here are thinkers, you're all management students. God has bestowed you the best of knowledge and opportunities. How wisely you use it is important. Just want to leave with you a couple of thoughts. I would give you, just like you have 3 Ds, I'll give you 3 Is. One eye is innovation. You need to see how can we do things differently, because that's the key to unleashing productivity and getting quality, innovation. So whatever is there, what else can you do differently so that you're more productive? Right. Next one is initiative. The story is told of who invented the telephone? Graham Bell, right? You're all right. But would you know that there's another person also invented the telephone? You don't know that, right? His name is not known. He's Elisha Gray. Right? Both invented. Maybe Elisha Gray did it earlier. Graham Bell went by horseback, traveled a lot of kilometers, and went to the patent office in USA personally, and recorded his invention of the telephone. 45 minutes later, Elisha Gray's attorney went and gave the details. And then later it was discovered that, Graham Bell was the first to record it. And therefore, today's invention stands in his name and not Elisha Gray's. Maybe he's done it earlier. What is the distinctive factor? The next I, initiative. Initiative. Okay? So that is important. You will do what is required to be done. You will do what is right and do it first. Initiative. The final I is integrity. Where there's so much of difficulties, where so many people are saying we must have a Jan Lokpal bill and how we should curb corruption, I'll tell you, you cannot have honesty legislated. It is not from a legal system. It is from a moral system. Integrity is the third I. So these are the three things I would want to leave these three I's with you. Innovation is from your mind. Initiative is from your heart. And integrity is from your soul. And where the mind, heart and soul are in harmony, I say there is growth. Okay? So where the mind, heart and soul are in harmony, there is growth. Innovation, initiative, integrity. Remember these, along with your 3 Ds. And enjoy your careers. Enjoy your family life. Enjoy your social life. All the best and be great citizens. Thank you.